Well, dear listeners, here we are at our last episode of the season, 1 year to the day that New York's 3rd District elected George Santos to Congress. When we began this series, it seemed like the end of our friend George. Even though he's remained free from jail, he now has even more criminal charges filed against him than when we started the show back in June 2023. Currently, as of the recording of this episode, the Department of Justice has filed 23 charges against George Santos. Everything ranging from aggravated identity theft to check fraud to a good old-fashioned Ponzi scheme. While it's unlikely that this liar and thief will remain in Congress after 2024, it's still important to remember him as the cautionary tale that he is. He took Donald Trump's playbook, made it the source material for his character, and eventually, like Don, was caught and charged. Will George ever see jail? Probably not, and let that serve as a reminder to not only know your elected officials and to hold them accountable, but to prevent people like George and Don from ever getting elected in the first place. Simply put, it is our civic duty to do so. It's true, most politicians are con artists, but luckily George Santos and Donald Trump have sent up multiple red flags that you can use as examples of what to look out for when it comes time to elect our leaders. That said, let's end this season with the truth about our friend George tonight on the season finale of I Do Not Trust This Person, Season 1, The Many Lies of George Santos. And stay tuned until the end of the episode to hear who we will be covering next season. Well, all right, here we are, a year to the day that George Santos was elected to Congress. And we've been spending all summer and fall doing a show about this sad, sad liar man. How do you feel 13 episodes later?
I feel as confused as I did before we started the show.
Yeah, like confused on how this happened, confused on him in general, confused on which lies were real lies or fake lies.
I am just so confused on him as a person. I do not understand. You know what it reminds me of is that episode of Amber. Well, not episode, but the skit Amber Says What that Amber Ruffin does on Seth.
Yes.
And there was one in particular that she did that we died laughing where I can't remember who she was talking about, but she just kind of broke and she was like, what and why and how and what and
who is this why and why are you doing this and why are you now
and
where are you
where
how
and why and how and who are you how and where and why and who are you where and how and who,
all the adverbs or whatever.
That is how I feel about George Santos because
how are you a person?
It's just so bizarre. And I'm trying to think, I guess we probably all know, maybe in school we all knew someone who kind of lied a lot.
Sure. I mean, people lie sometimes to make themselves look cool. Like, I remember 5th grade, I told everybody I was a Nintendo champion to seem cool because I was new. And then that lie fell apart fast.
But to stick to your lies and deny any wrongdoing for
your whole life.
I mean, apparently, that's another level.
One of the things I found out through a girl or a woman who she was the woman I mentioned in the last episode about she was his lawyer friend, and then he pitched to her client a $300,000 investment, but he can't ask what it's for. Like, what the but she said that they were childhood friends in school, and he would lie about things, even at a young age, to try. I don't know if it was compensating for something. She was also not trying to diagnose,
that's why, and I think one of the episodes we did where we go back to him being, in drag in Brazil, his friends from that era talked about how he lied and, did petty theft and as well. So
it's been an ongoing thing since grade school. I guess
it's just bizarre. It's I don't know if it's pathological, compulsive, whatever you would diagnose it at. I have no idea, but it's so confusing. And the fact that I think what is just the most insane to me is that he continues to introduce bills and talk on the floor of the House.
He's actually as a congressperson, he's not
contributing.
He's contributing.
Active.
He's active. He's kind of good at his job in that sense.
He has no shame.
40 plus bills on the floor, by the way.
Zero shame. He gets up with everything going on. Like, the man has lied about his schooling, his career, his finances,
dog charities that he started and
everything,
then stole
and yet
from.
He has zero shame.
Yeah.
He will get up and talk on the floor of the House of Representatives. Like, I guess I just do not understand that level of blatant disregard for anything.
The truth. I mean, he's an election denier too. Let's not
blatant
forget
disregard
that.
for the truth. It's true.
He was,
he
was at the Stop the Steal rallies.
So yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even mention, because it just happened, the whole weird random baby he was holding walking through the halls. Because I don't know where to put that. From what I understand, it was like one of his staffers' baby. She like brought it in. But when reporters asked him about it, like, is it yours? Whose baby is that? Or is it your baby? He's like, well, not yet, or something like that is what he responded with, like, not yet. Like, it might be someday, I think is what the actual quote was. But
also apparently he like kind of had a breakdown and yelled at
a guy he was calling him anti-Semitic. Yeah, there was a protester in there asking him something about Israel. And he started calling him a piece of human garbage while holding the baby too, which was like, poor baby. But yeah, I don't really know what happened there. And that's like a thing with him too. What, there is a spiritual, like, this is the last episode of this season on George Santos. We're going to be doing somebody else next season that we'll tell you about at the end. So stay tuned for that. But a spiritual actual sequel end to this is the New York Times article that is linked in the description of this. It's the only source that's linked in the description of this one. Well, no, it's not, because I have another. There's a couple others, but it doesn't matter. But it's the New York Times article. George Santos called me, and I finally picked up. I think is somewhere along the lines of what it is. Again, listed in the description. But it's, again, I said the word again like a million times. I'm sorry. This is a spiritual ending to this show because it actually humanizes him in a slight way, which was weird. Like, I almost, reading this article had sympathy for him to a point, but then you remember all of the things that he did. I mean, you just named offhand like 5 different things, not to mention the silly ones.
Why did you have sympathy for him?
Not sympathy. It was just more of humanizing him. Like, maybe some of this has been blown out of proportion. Like, they have made a joke of him a lot. He did dress up in drag one time, yet the news reported that he has a career in drag. That's not he wanted a career in drag. He was an aspiring drag queen when, at least by his own words, he said, I just dressed up at a festival at Brazil in drag. Okay, that's fine. But then there's the whole weird shit of saying that he was on Hannah Montana, saying that he produced a Spider-Man musical. The dog thing, they have the texts. Like, he does try and deny that, which is where my sympathy starts to wane. Like, I have sympathy in the sense of, like, well, don't make shit up about him. But at the end of the day, there's so much evidence to the contrary.
He has forfeit any right to the truth because he
absolutely, yeah,
doesn't. He is, all he does is lie. I mean, he is the literal embodiment of the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah,
like. Now
absolutely.
you're huffing and puffing that, things have been misrepresented or whatever. How are we supposed to trust anything you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I can't. And the people can't either.
Now I think I'm getting angry.
Yeah, about George in general.
Yes, because I think up until this, it was just like funny because there is a lot of the stuff we started out with the Hannah Montana, Spider-Man, all of that is kind of hilarious. And then
that's why I tried to help it build over time for you.
Yeah, no, you did. And it's like lying about, school. And I mean, kudos to you. You lied about school, work, your resume, everything
volleyball,
to get where you are. I
capabilities. Having his knees replaced because he was playing volleyball.
What a piece of crap. I mean, I don't know if it's white privilege, if it's male privilege, if it's compulsive lying. I don't know what it is that got him to have zero shame about anything that he does or says, but it pisses me off.
Yeah. Well, I can honestly tell you that, 1, I do agree with you, but 2, that you won't have to worry about that for much longer. Well, yes, we've been dealing with George for 1 year. So like, think about that too. It's only been 1 year. about George Santos. And so far, he has dominated the news, nowhere near as much as Donald Trump or anything like that, but he's been satired on SNL, every single late night show.
He has been satired on SNL a lot, and it's hilarious.
It's dude, Bowen Yang, the best. It's between Bowen Yang and the guy that plays Guillermo on What We Do in the Shadows. He's Colbert's. Yeah, he does it on Colbert. Yeah, that man. Both of them are great.
So
Bowen
funny.
Yang though. I love that man.
So
he's so fucking good at just anything, but just as well as playing George Santos.
But the thing with George Santos that's interesting is like when all of this news broke earlier this year, so many Republicans called for his resignation.
Mm-hmm.
People like
senators,
and now all of that has kind of died down
because they need those seats,
and because there's so much other crazy shit happening in the world.
They can't even choose a speaker. I'm willing to bet by the time this episode comes out,
just because he's going to fall through the cracks.
No, and I'll explain to you in just a second. But I'm also, and I hope I hope this doesn't hold up because I hope Hakeem Jeffries is chosen at this point. But I guarantee the Republicans haven't chosen a speaker this is November 8th is when this comes out. They have not chosen a speaker. Guarantee
That's in like 2 weeks.
I know it's in 2 weeks.
We are recording this.
Yeah, we're recording this in advance. Yeah, well, because we had to wait for George to get charged with a bunch of stuff.
No, but okay, as of right now, it is October 20-something, 5th,
22nd, second, I think, 23rd.
It's October 23rd. There are 9 speaker candidates.
Yeah.
I heard today that they are either today or tomorrow. They are going to all present their case, and then they're
30, 60, 90 plans.
And then they're going to do a secret ballot to determine who can be the candidate that they then take out on the floor. What I don't understand is if you can't get behind one candidate, why do you think you're going to have unanimous choice on 9 candidates?
I know. Well, they're going to hold a bunch of different elections in their little secret ballot, but it's so funny to me that, and this is the party that George wants to be a part of when, golly, why, man? But that they want to get rid of the deadlock by adding 9 more people into this.
You are gay, you are Brazilian, you were born like poor,
you're an immigrant.
Be a Democrat.
Come on. But whatever. He's not going to be elected again. I can tell you that right now because of a few things. One, the New York's third voters, according to Siena, is 78% or 78 to 13% do not want him do not want him running again. They think he should resign. 78 or 71% of representatives in the House of Representatives.
What do you mean 78 to 13%?
The voters, they polled voters in his district, and 78% of them said they don't want him to run anymore and think he should resign, versus 13 that say he's doing fine.
Oh.
Yeah. Siena Research, siena.edu. They're a research institute.
Got it.
But they also, the main group of them in Nassau, I think is the county. It's New York's third, just because I can't remember which one it's technically.
Long Island.
They call him a stain on our state.
Isn't Long Island where What We Do in the Shadows?
That is oh my God, is George Santos is he the representative for Laszlo and all of them? Oh my gosh. But they said that he's a stain on their state, and George said that he pities the fools that try and remove him and expel him. But I'm like, you're quoting Mr. T. That's fantastic, but whatever. So here's the deal. One of the biggest things on this show, what has been baffling us till no end, is where were the Democrats on this? How did no one catch this, right? It's baffled you, Alana. It's baffled me.
Yes, because they are supposed to do, well, I guess, I don't know. Is this
I'm about to reveal.
District that is
I'm about to reveal
Republican?
So let me get to that. So, okay. So which do you want first? The reason the Oppo failed, or is this district Republican? You pick.
Is this district Republican?
So it was traditionally Democrat. He was the only person on the ticket running unopposed because the Republicans didn't really try in this one district. And then right before the election, that district got redrawn as part of, I think, a thing Cuomo was doing, or some sort of weird redistricting plan that New York had. And that district that he was in went from becoming a tiny little Democratic district to a big old leaning Republican district. And he was running unopposed right before the election, and he swept house. Cleaned house swept the election and beat the guy who was, I think, an incumbent Democrat, if memory serves, and who is I'm really still confused, other than the massive amount of the big influx of Republican voters that popped in when the district was redrawn. So yeah, that's why he's in there, by pure absolute luck on his part that the district was redrawn right before his election. And now we have George Santos. What was the other one that, the Oppo research. So why we don't have the Oppo research, or we thought we didn't, was because the Democrats missed all of it. They did do Oppo research on him. They just didn't get any of his lies. But there was somebody who did get all of George's lies and found out about all of them. Do you want to know who that was? George Santos. George's campaign hired a high-end company to basically do a report on him, a vulnerability report, which all Republicans and pretty much all politician leadership says you need to do on yourself to make sure all of your skeletons are and ducks are in a row.
Yes, everybody knows that.
Why would you not do that?
Olivia Pope knows to do that.
Pope knows to do that. Like, just watch Scandal. Did George not watch Scandal?
He did, because he did his own Oppo research on himself.
I guess so. Fair enough. So maybe
he
did.
Smart one.
Yeah, okay. So maybe he did watch Scandal. Okay, so he almost got away with it. He's just not Olivia Pope, or he didn't have Olivia Pope.
Yeah, that's what he needs. He needs Olivia Pope right now.
100-page report. I encourage you to look it up because the cover photo is hilarious. It is not a flattering picture of him.
Is it him?
It's of him, and it's very basic because, anyways, they found out all of it. That's where a good, huge chunk of, I think sorry for that whistle. It's where a huge chunk of this. Did that come
from your mouth?
That came from my mouth.
Wow, that's cool.
Hopefully the plugin fixes that. But they found everything. I wouldn't bet that most of these lies were trickled out by the people that worked for this thing. Maybe not, because they're paid a lot of money to keep quiet. But the vulnerability report came out a few months ago. It was done in 2021. By the way, pre his election.
Yeah.
So and then the GOP found out.
So Republicans knew about all this, and were like,
leadership
who cares?
did when it came out, yes, but the New York's Third claims they did not. They claimed that they were not informed of any of this, and they're going to be restructuring things. The guy that they were interviewing was one of the heads of their committee or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying I believe a Republican at face value, but I believe that leadership in the GOP, like Kevin McCarthy and all of them, would have kept that from the local district when there was this many lies. Like, I mean, the money stuff,
right, but you got to remember how close the 2022 election was in the House.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I think they kept it from everybody. Yeah, and so they didn't tell anyone, and they knew about all of this more or less, and we still got him anyways, and he knew about all of this. There was even 2 of his aides that asked him to drop out of the race when they found out about, when the report came back, and they quit because he obviously didn't drop out of the race. So yeah, that's your end. I mean, it's not really the end of this episode because we'll talk for a few more minutes, but at the end of the day, the GOP knew about all of this. George Santos knew every one of these lies could come out. Every goddamn one of them. Every one of them. They did operate a 100-page report that he himself paid for with his campaign dollars that he probably stole from one of his donors, that he ran their credit card for 15 grand.
100%.
Like one of the few people that he ran their cards for $15,000 or less or more. It doesn't matter. He stole so much money from people everywhere, from the rich to the poorest of the poor. Like, like his relative said who said that they when they were approached about donating $5,600 to his campaign, I'm dumbfounded. I don't know why, like, other than, man, this is just politics. The GOP kept this secret so that they could keep one seat.
Keep the seat, yeah.
And look how well that's doing. I mean, again, they're in disarray. Whether or not they've chosen a speaker at this point is arbitrary because they've proven themselves not, one, that they don't know how to govern. And I know the Democrats are just as shady as the GOP, but the GOP here got caught. And the GOP said this liar and piece of human garbage is fit to be one of our representatives.
And also the GOP is the one that has had this speaker scandal, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, like they're not going to ever. They're just not going. They're not going to organize themselves. You're currently witnessing the GOP in their death throes, and George Santos and Donnie T are perfect. You're gonna get a different party in a decade. Like the GOP is not the GOP from 20 years ago, and it's definitely not going to be the same.
Well, no, that changes just naturally, but it is going to be the Republican party that's around at least for a few more years.
For sure, yeah. And through when Tucker Carlson tries to run for president in 2028. Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Because we've already said it on America the Conversation, which you all should go listen to, and how it's one of our biggest fears. It's one of Andrew's.
I'm gonna go eat some Halloween candy.
Yeah. That's all. That's what this does. That's what working in this industry has done to me. I'm glad, Alana, thank you for doing this season with me on George Santos, because I got to share in some of this with you. So yeah, next season, since we're done with George, we're moving on.
Unless he does something extra exciting and special, then we'll have a special episode.
Oh yeah, anytime George does something, we will come back in and we will do an episode, ad hoc episode on George. But the structured season, I am considering to do Casey and Ron DeSantis, The Weird Lives of Casey and Ron DeSantis. What do you think about that title? Because they're weird. I mean, between Ron's shoes. I love that title.
I think she is
terrifying.
A terrifying psycho mastermind behind him. And I don't know that I want to know more about them, but sure.
Yeah. You get, but see, that's the thing.
Let's do it.
We're doing it more the clicks, because I'll make all of you click on this, and also because he's going to be primarying.
Don't give away your
oh, they all know it. Everybody knows how to use TikTok.
It's all for the clicks.
Everything is for the clicks, everybody. We're trying to be transparent. Unlike George Santos, who lied. I'm not going to lie to you like George Santos. Yeah, wow. No, but they're being primaried, and right now he's being primaried. He's going to definitely lose. He's obviously not going to be the nominee, but he is someone who has just fascinated me to know.
Wait, he's being primaried?
Yeah, he's in not as governor. He's in the primary for president.
Yes.
Yeah,
classically.
He's not going to beat
with
Don.
Those boots.
He's not. I don't even think he's going to beat Nikki Haley. Oh, we'll get to the boots. That may be the first episode, or there is one other that I won't say what it is. I'll just say go enjoy some Thai food between now and then. But yeah, so thanks for listening to this season of I Do Not Trust This Person, season 1, I guess, of The Many Lies of George Santos. Alana has been my co-host. I am Tim Philippi. Please go listen to America the Podcast Road Trip and America the Podcast and America the Conversation, all out now on the America the Podcast channel. Oops, sorry for hitting the mic. And then the America the Podcast Presents channel on YouTube. The other one is on iTunes. You can just find us wherever, americathepodcast.com. And that's, I don't know how many times I can say that.
America the Podcast.
americathepodcast.com. We'll be in your ears again in January. So for now, I'm going to
go eat a Twix.
Yeah, for now we're going to go eat a Twix. And George, just tell the truth, man. Just tell the truth. It will set you free.
No.
He's not going to do it. You've been listening to I Do Not Trust This Person, Season 1, The Many Lies of New York Representative George Santos. The show is hosted and produced by Alana Matos and Tim Philippi. The show is mixed and edited at Shui Media Studios in Austin, Texas. For a full list of news sources and music used in this episode, please refer to the show notes. I Do Not Trust This Person was created by Tim Philippi and is a production of Shui Media and America the Podcast Presents. For more information, please visit shuimedia.com. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved.
This has been a production of Shui Media, all rights reserved. For more information, please visit shuimedia.com.